Hey guys, this is Bill. I wanted to apologize that this video is coming out so late. It took a while to get it all compiled together, and then it sat in my inbox for a few days without me realizing it. So I'm getting it edited together tonight. I wanted to let you know it's going to be a little awkward. It's the final episode. It's Universe Box, that's how we do. But we had everyone except for Liz over to our house to record the final Greetings from Storybrooke episode. We're not really set up for live streaming anymore. It went south. So they reassembled and did a proper final episode after we had a couple failed live streams that, a lot of awkwardness, bad audio, all that kind of stuff. So what we decided to do is we're going to post the Bobby, Monica, Liz, Tony finale of Greetings from Storybrooke. We're going to play a trailer for a project that's coming up that I'll tell you about in a second. And then we are going to play the failed live streams. You might be better off going to Facebook to watch them or YouTube. I think there'll be video in the episodes. But pretty fun stuff, and it was great to say goodbye to people who have meant so much to us over the years, you guys included, which is why we want to let you know about our upcoming project. And it's my project, it's Anne-Marie's involved, Bobby, Tony, Monica, who you all know, Hope, if you remember, Win, Michael Lucero, all sorts of people who were with us through the Universe Box year. So I hope you join us for it. There will be a trailer after the Bobby episode, before the live streams. So about halfway through the episode, if you want to skip ahead, then come back and watch the other stuff. Pretty exciting project. I hope some of you guys will tag along. All right. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the shows.
Greetings from Storybrooke. I'm Bobby Hawk, and this is the realm where stories are written in blood and tears, and now they'll be written in yours. We also talk about ABC's history as Once Upon a Time. Hey, how you guys doing this week?
Good.
All right, and of course, joining us as always is Elizabeth Placencia. How you doing this week, Elizabeth? Okay. Yeah, I've heard you could be doing better. Sorry to hear about that. Monica Sadai, how are you doing this week?
Hey, good. They finally opened up the road in front of my house. They've been widening it for the past couple of years.
Oh
and
my!
they finished.
Years? Yeah, I know the feeling. They've been doing the same thing at my house, or not my house, like in my area, and like I live like in kind of a back roads area, and so it's the one road out to like the main strip, and like right now they're in the process of like they have it like down to one lane, and then it's like it's been raining crazy for like the past week, and so when it's raining, obviously they can't do anything because they just have pumps out there constantly pumping the water from underground. So I feel your pain, Monica. I feel your pain. I'm sorry to hear about that. Well, actually, no, I'm not sorry to hear about that. I'm glad to hear about that. I'm sorry to see the crap I have to do.
2 lanes to 4.
Oh, very.
Wow, that's a big difference.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing at mine, but a lot of people are pretty upset about it because a lot of people feel like they moved out this way because of it being, like they don't want the traffic. But
the traffic will always find you.
Yeah, it is. You can't stop progress. No. And of course, Tony Hoops. Tony, how you doing this week? Well, can't hear you. Nope, still can't hear you.
I'm doing all right.
There we go. There you are. All right. So, like I said before, this is like for the last time, for the third time. We already, did the hangout with Bill and Anne-Marie. We were going to try to make that a thing. Unfortunately, things kind of fell apart. Or Bill couldn't do the live stream like he could before. We kept losing contact with the modem and everything, but we did what we could to hang out with the few people that chose to hang out, and did kind of a just a quick Facebook first reaction thing, and we'll tag that on to the end of this recording, so you'll still get to hear from Bill and Anne-Marie. But we felt like that there still needed to be, like, it wasn't enough. We still felt there still needed to be like a full episode for the last episode of the show. So I guess that's a long-winded way of saying that's why we're doing what we're doing this week. And
that's why we're here tonight.
and so, Monica, why don't you go ahead and take it away with the last rhyming summary?
Spells are stories that Rumpel will use to make their worlds crumble. Robin asks Nook's blessing. He won't keep her guessing. Gold fights for what's right and walks into the light. Nook is healed with Gold's heart. He and Alice have a new start. With one last curse, hearts start a new verse. The good queen is elected, and second chances are erected. Thus closes our favorite book in this week's Leaving Storybrooke.
Leaving Storybrooke.
Okay, I watched got me right there. Thus closes our favorite book. That line got me.
Yeah, there's quite a few moments, I will say, regardless of how I felt in the show as in the episode rather as a whole. There were definitely quite a few moments that got me choked up.
Right here.
Yeah, right there. But anyway, so without further ado, let's go on with this week's recap. So the clock tower reads 8:15 as Grumpy, Sleepy, and Doc head to Granny's to pick up lunch for the crew. Archie's nearby walking Pongo when Alice and Robin barrel into town, nearly running down Grumpy in the process. They try to explain who they are and that they are from the future to save Henry and his daughter, but for some reason they find that hard to believe and chase them down as intruders. Robin notices Regina's car and decides if anyone will help, she will. They run to the car and find Zelina taking little Robin to school, and they convince her that they need her help. Meanwhile, Henry and Gold are reunited with the others in the snow globe. Gold tells them that Rumpel has taken his magic. He's won. But Hook's not going to let that stop him. And at Wish Rumpel's castle, Wish Henry holds Regina captive. He holds her responsible for his misgivings. But to be fair, she did rip out his grandparents' heart. But at the same time, she didn't realize they were real, so there's that. She tries to talk sense into him, but he takes his blade and slashes her hand, telling her the new stories will be written in her blood. Henry leaves Regina alone to ponder his threat, and she receives a visit from her lost love, Robin Hood, who tells her she must save Henry. She says Henry wants her dead, but he says that she is proof about anyone's. I'm sorry, but he says that she is proof that anyone's path can change. He kisses her before laying something in her hand. Regina comes to in her cell, holding a red feather. Back in the snow globe, Gold and Hook are determined to get out, but without magic, they're just banging their heads against a thick glass wall. Suddenly, Maui's hook appears. They use it to bash the globe and free themselves. Alice, Robin, and Zelina are waiting and tell them that Henry plans to execute Regina. While the others go to save her, Gold decides to look for something to help him deal with the Dark One. In the throne room, Wish Henry impatiently awaits as Rumpel enters with a dark storybook. He tells Henry the new spell is to create dark stories for everyone. Henry says they need ink, but Rumpel tells him that the author's emotions are strong and the hatred he feels for Regina will fuel the spell. The guards bring in the blue fairy, and he hands Henry his pen and tells him to remember cutting Regina and how he felt harming his enemy. As he does, a dark portal opens, sucking the fairy into her own dark story. Rumpel waves his hand, revealing piles of similar books, each with a different name. Once Wish Henry kills Regina, every hero from every realm will be sucked into their own dark and twisted tale. Dark and twisted tale. Sorry about that. Isolated and alone. As Gold searches for a way to defeat the Dark One, he finds a dream catcher and takes a moment to remember Belle, telling her that he's tried but may not be able to find a way home. Outside the castle, Robin and Hook plan to distract the guards so Henry and Alice can save Regina. Hook's heart is obviously not doing well, doing so well, so Margot decides it's as good a time as any to ask for Alice's hand in marriage, to which Hook happily obliges. Robin takes aim as Hook runs after the guards, leaving Henry able to go into the cave and rescue Regina. He's stopped by some of the faceless guards. He's about to be run through when 2 other guards jump in and help. They remove their hoods, revealing them to be the Charmings to the rescue. Okay, so that's the first half of the show. A few moments I wanted to point out. For starters, of course, Granny and her crossbow. I love that slight little moment. It sucks that we only got to see a moment or two of the the Storybrooke citizens, but it was pretty cool to see her there like that. Second of all, did you guys notice that Archie popped like literally out of nowhere?
Yeah, I thought he was just basically on the side of the camera saying, "Okay, do I go in?"
Like I literally, I freeze framed it. I was like, is he like behind Granny? Is he coming down the street? No. One scene, the dwarves are there picking up their sandwich, and then it like pans over to the rolling by you coming down the road, and then it turns back and Archie's there. It's like, what the where? What? Archie just like was walking Pongo through a portal. I don't know what happened there.
Basically, poof.
Yeah. That was just odd. Like I said, like I didn't catch it the first time we watched it, when we all watched it together. But then just, upon this viewing just now, I was like, well, not just now. I watched it a few times. But actually, yeah, even the second time I watched it, I didn't notice that. There are a few little things like that. And then why is it just Grumpy? Why or not Grumpy? Why is it just Grumpy, Doc, and Sleepy? And the only way I knew it was Sleepy was from the name on his pickaxe. But why was it just the 3 of them? And then why was Grumpy kind of like almost acting as the leader in the front where Doc should be? And then why was he like acting all cheerful and stuff?
Well, Grumpy has always kind of been the leader on the show.
I really thought
he's
so.
He's really the only one that talks.
That's all I was just gonna say. I'll give you that he's usually the only one that's given airtime, but I wouldn't necessarily say that he's the leader. I don't know. I mean, to me, if you see the dwarves whistling down the road, the Doc is in the lead.
I've never seen it. Not on this show, anyways.
Yeah, like I've always seen the Grumpy always in front. It's always Grumpy in front.
I don't know. It just threw me. It just threw me. Okay, and what was that? I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought there for a second, guys. Did he? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, what did you guys think of the final spell? This is like the final spell. Yeah. Exactly. Well, not final curse because later, but yeah, this was like the final evil curse, the final dark curse. Shall we say?
You mean the book one?
Yes.
I thought that was very different. I mean, trapping people in their own stories, even though I think they've tried that before with trapping them into the evil Storybrooke and basically turning the roles, but it was definitely different.
How did you feel about like the way they went about it with Henry and Rumple and everything? Elizabeth, go ahead.
Well, first off, when you see all the books in the throne room, I'm just like, that's a lot of work to individualize a person per book. So how long is that young Henry going to be there just angrily, just like, and then trying to throw people into a portal into their own books? I'm like, that would take hours. Or even more than hours. So you want to make fun of that fact right there. Mm-hmm. And then when you're going down that row of books, Henry's name is in there too. You'd think he realized, oh wait, that's my name, even though there's 2 versions of me or 3. I don't know.
3,
yeah. Well, okay, but there's 2 in that realm at that time.
Yeah, so, I got you.
But you would think, oh wait, I have to trap myself in a book. Maybe this isn't a good idea. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, you would think it only just affected the other Henry,
Well, yeah, Monica, did you have anything to add before I added something? What did you feel about the final spell there?
Not on that point.
Okay. What? Darn it! Now I lost my train of thought. There was something I wanted to bring up about that. I feel like there was a lot there, almost too much there. There's just so much that this should have been like a final season. If
it was the final season.
No, but I'm saying this episode,
this arc,
these last 2 episodes. There's been, we talked last week about things being brushed under the rug, things just being kind of swept past as we, just oh, don't worry about this, oh, don't worry about that, okay, this happened, and they've even kind of almost commented about it themselves in the show, oh, you found a loophole. Yeah, I mean, there's so many, I feel like it was a good arc, but for trying to just squeeze this into 2 episodes, I feel like it was there was just too much
forced.
Yeah, the whole episode, both episodes felt a bit forced. While don't get me wrong, like I said, I felt like there was a lot there to chew on. And there was, some great scenes with different people. Now I'm kind of almost talking, to the end of the episode at this point. But I mean, the spell is a huge part of the end of the episode. I just feel like
I would have liked for them to actually work their way out of it instead of, completely, getting away from it. Actually see it happen and actually stripping us away of hope, and that's just the same way as they did for the other one when Isaac created the past author before Henry, how he actually created the whole entire switched up universe, or at least at the also when the Black Fairy had Emma burn the book, literally that actually made me feel wow, I'm actually losing hope of everybody's surviving, and the land getting swamped up and being thrown into chaos. So it would have been actually, it would have been actually a little bit better for them to actually put them into that scenario and then to fight out of it.
No, I hear you, and they only had a limited amount of time. And that's what I was saying is that while I liked the spell. I liked the idea of it, but it was just they didn't have enough time to execute it well.
Yeah, it was like here's a spell. Let's figure out a way for them to quickly avoid it. Make it easy. This is the finale here. We're just gonna make everything easy right now.
Okay, and then Elizabeth has some points that she feels that I just totally glossed over. And
I was actually going to say something before that.
Okay, go ahead.
I had thought of it, but I didn't write it in the notes. Okay, so I really want to break apart that snow globe scene. First off, okay, so when the snow globe was created, it's just Lucy and Jacinda just standing there. That's in part 1 of the finale. So in this episode, Henry, Hook, and Rumpel walk into an all of a sudden cabin that exists now in the snow globe, and then Henry moves Jacinda and Lucy to what I presume is another room to look for blankets. I'm like, okay, and then there's a fire, and I'm like, all right, whatever. And then I just thought it was weird how that was all of a sudden there to give them some kind of shelter. So why would Rumpel give them shelter?
I remember seeing the cabin before.
I don't remember seeing it. I think it was just them. But okay. And then I feel like there was more I wanted to say about that, but I'm really starting to forget. Okay, then I'll just move on to my next point. All right. So yeah, Bobby, you did gloss over it. Bobby, you totally skimmed over the part where, okay, so Hook and Rumpel are out in the snow globe outside the cabin, and they're trying to break away at it. But the conversation they had is the part you skipped over. And, Hook asked him, so you had all these chances to destroy me. Why didn't you? And he said, Rumpel said, well, basically because you're the only friend I've ever had. And I'm watching this first time, second time going, oh.
But that's not the Hook that he should be saying that to.
doesn't matter. To be honest,
I mean, totally true. It really doesn't look like he's supposed to be saying it to that Hook, because that Hook belongs with evil Rumple.
Elizabeth was in the middle of talking. Go ahead.
Okay, but my argument for what you're saying is that Nook and Hook basically all have the same background up until the curse. Once the curse hit, one Regina cast and one Regina didn't, and that's how we got Nook. So basically, all that same old history is still there. They still fought over Mila. He, still lost his hand, and he killed Mila, and all that's still there for both sides of Hook. So that history is still there. All those years of hating each other, blah blah blah. When it splits is the curse stuff. So then, our Hook goes through all these other years of all these these evolutions with Rumple. And I think towards the end of season 6, they were not talking about being friends, but they were in a better place. Cut to Nook, and I think it's really more because of Alice than anything else. The fact that Nook wasn't able to be the father he wanted to be to Alice because of their curse, that I think not just because Alice was like quote unquote guardian, but because Rumple could relate to his longing to wanting to be a father. He could relate. And anyways, over the past 7 years, I'm just going to roll it all into one. I love how their relationship has evolved, and I have more to say about that later. But just for this particular scene, I really loved how there was acknowledgement of the friendship that they have formed, especially this season, because when Hook is watching his daughter from afar, and Rumple's all dark oneed out. They're in the woods. They have this moment where they agree to not be enemies and to kind of build a friendship. And I just have enjoyed the evolution of their relationship. So, yeah.
I somewhat agree. Like I said, and I mean, that the only thing that was wrong with, and I had these same feelings for a moment until I realized that this, like I said, this isn't the Hook he should be saying that to, and that's a shame, And what really
I hadn't even thought of that, to be honest.
What really is a shame about all of that is that what they've done with Hook this season is, I thought they had a really hard job as far as trying to please people as far as why is he still on the show. So they had him split where he could still be with Emma, but then we have this other Hook, and of course people were skeptical as to how that would work out. And I feel for the most part it's worked out stellar. I mean, it has enabled Colin O'Donoghue to show different facets to the character. It's allowed, like you were saying, a broadening of the relationship between Hook and Rumple. But it almost robs it, in one sense, that it's a different Hook, that it isn't the same Hook, like you were just saying, that we spent all that time with. And and you can kind of just sit back and kind of just say, yeah, but you just, I thought you did a beautiful job of explaining how, yeah, but this is them at the very least acknowledging, all of that. And I do agree that at the very least that was they did a great job there. Did you have anything to add before we move on to Tony there?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Tony, did you wanted to add some stuff?
So just a few points here. I thought it was great seeing everybody in Storybrooke together as residents one last time. I also agree that I missed Archie and everything like that, and I also agree that it was that he just kind of came out of nowhere. It's like the camera turned around from Alice and Robin and said, "Oh, hey, we have a new person in frame." It was just awkward, just to see him coming out of nowhere without actually walking over, and joining the group. Is it just me, or did Jared get better at playing evil?
I think Jared's been better all around.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I was actually watching a little bit of season 3 earlier today where he was like switch bodies with Pan.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? And I just remember, and I was
Mm-hmm.
looking at him because he's younger and he's still got those chubby cheeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at him trying to be Pan, and I'm like, I don't believe you're acting right now. I just couldn't because he was still little and he had the cute cheeks. But Jared older, and I agree with you. He definitely did a better job with this being evil, or being like a really angry teenager.
Exactly. Definitely to the teenager anger, the raging hormones, all that stuff, puberty definitely played a good, role in showing that, hey, I have grown up from my body switching with Pan, and my evil has gotten much better. So it's cool. Yep, that's right, Robin. Let's ask your girlfriend's father for her hand in marriage whilst his heart is just wasting away. It was perfect timing for her to ask, for her hand in marriage, asking for permission and all that. That just seemed like it was just a perfect time to just come out of nowhere, And also, I have a question for all of you guys. I've always wondered. I think it's great adding in new characters, objects and items and different, little Easter eggs into the show and everything like that because it's Disney themed. But I've never understood the reason for Maui's hook in the show.
That's from Moana.
Yeah, I know exactly where it's from and what it is, but I've always wondered what is its signature purpose in the show. I mean, I thought it would have been cool just to see it as a random magical artifact after the movie came out and put it in Rumpel's store.
Well, I know this is the second time they've used it in the show, but I don't really remember. Yeah. I don't remember why it came about the first time. So someone's got to help me with my memory.
I remember when it first came out, it was Blackbeard. Blackbeard had it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They just said that.
Not Blackbeard.
Davy Jones.
No.
Not
My name
Davy
is
Jones.
Ishmael, for my path has always led me to the sea. Moby Dick, Captain Ahab.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But I never really just understood. I mean, it was just. It just made it seem like it was just right now to put into
Tony, you really broke up there.
Stuttering.
Yeah,
it really for it.
Tony, I'm not sure anything you try to say.
Yeah, you got a little digital stutter there.
Oh, sorry. What I was saying is that I never really understood the reason for the hook.
The significance.
Yeah, the significance of it. It just seemed like it just never made sense.
What was the
power? We don't know either.
We don't know. It was just there.
No, it did something.
Unlock anything.
Well, because with this episode, I know it was Alice magicking it in. Oh, that was my other snow globe point. If Regina or Gold or whoever couldn't, break the snow globe or whatever. Because the evil Rumpel was saying it's not impenetrable besides me. So how was Alice able to get that Maui hook in there? That was another point I had.
That's another, question, small little thing.
Makes no sense either.
Exactly, which is the reason why I've always just had a thought, ever since it first came into the show, what was its significant purpose? Why did it even, be, in coming into the show? It just would have been better.
It has the power to break anyone from prison.
Oh, well.
And they were imprisoned in the snow globe, so.
But
here's
again,
Maui's hook.
she get it in there.
Right.
How did
again,
they get in there?
She shouldn't have been able to get it in there.
Mm-hmm. That's Alice.
Yeah.
In this case, it just seems like that's kind of a loophole on somebody else's.
Even
magic,
if Alice didn't have magic, they got magic from somewhere in Storybrooke, just like Rumpel got magic from a place in the castle. And again, this is part of the thing where I'm saying that like this would have been a great story arc as opposed to just them trying to rush it through in 2 episodes.
Definitely. On one last point, it seems like fairies in this show are always at the short end of the stick. Fairies like have been,
Blue is.
or at least Blue. Blue has always been the victim of short scenes, limited screen time, things like that, and they just brought her in just to seal her into a prison. I've always just wondered, another example, Cinderella's a fairy. No matter what rendition, either our first Cinderella we know, or the new Cinderella we now know, they've always suffered the most. Like they are both, blew up into dust. Like it's like they have never had a chance of survival. But I've always just, kind of wondered, like in the background, like, okay, why are they so unlucky in this show? But that was just my few points that I've had for this first half of the show.
Okay. And Monica.
So Cheery Grumpy is the best. I just love that. And what is the greatest sandwich in all the realms? Please tell me it's grilled cheese.
I really think it was the grilled cheese. That's my hunch.
And you were talking about the cabin in the snow globe.
Uh-huh.
Why is Henry's first words when he and the 2 guys walk in to warm up Ella and Lucy, who have been in the cabin sitting by the fire? Oh, let's get you guys some blankets. No,
they're his girls. They're his girls. He's just concerned for them.
I just thought that was so weird. I was like, that's a little backwards.
Here, let me get you a towel, even though you've been in a warm cabin.
Yeah. Robin sticking her tongue out of herself was adorable.
Yeah.
And when Regina was in the tavern with Robin, I got a flashback to Princess Bride. Death cannot stop true love. All it can do is delay it for a while.
Oh yeah, very sweet.
That sounds more like a Rumple Bell thing that you just quoted.
No.
Mm-mm. There's more than one true love couple on the show. It took a while, but
it was a dream scene. Get over it. It was a dream scene. Honestly, yes. I was upset by the scene. I'm like, this is why you have him back, is just so she can dream about him. That was all throwaway to me. I think we could have lived without it. What did we really get from it?
What did we get from Grumpy and them in the beginning of the episode? What did we get? I mean, you could say that about, we discussed that last time. We could say that about all of the Storybrooke characters that came back in this episode. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, more than anything, it just seems like it was really a reunion type of thing. Just a way for the writers and the creators to say, here's everyone that you've missed from the past seasons. Even though we're not going to show every single person, we're going to have them in flashback as soon as the show ends, just to make all of you happy. So this is most definitely a reunion episode more than anything.
Well, then Neil should have been there. Anne-Marie would have been happy.
Yeah, well, her and I would have been happy. We are always team on fire forever. So
yeah, I have a note about that later.
Yeah, I know somebody said something about it in the notes, but I'm not going to quote what somebody else said because I'm not going to steal their thing. Anyways.
Monica, do you have anything else to add before we move on?
No, that was it.
Okay, then. Let me see, where were we? Sorry, got lost in conversation.
The second half.
Yep, yeah. Charming and Snow White gather the Fellowship of the Realms and share the storybooks. And share the storybooks they found when they helped rescue Regina. Another thing they just brushed past. Somehow they know exactly what Rumple has in the story. But the Charming's family motto is "We always find each other," and they believe that with hope, others can do so as well. They send everyone off to tell everyone in all the realms to hold on to hope. Hook and the others go off to find Gold, who has found a wee bit of magic the Dark One had hidden. He sprinkles the small vial on his hand with it. He sprinkles the small vial on his hand. Sorry, got lost there for a second.
All good.
With it, he will be able to rip out Rumple's heart and end this once and for all. Rumple appears and tells them it's too late. The curse is already underway. Outside, Wish Henry searches the forest for Regina. She shows herself and tries once more to talk some sense into him. He offers a sword, but she refuses to fight. He begins to attack, and she defends herself. Meanwhile, as the author's blood boils, Rumple's spell becomes more powerful. He waves his hand and a dark portal opens for each of the heroes. They begin... Sorry, give me just 1 second. Sorry. They begin to hold on to anything anything they can so as not to get sucked in. Henry continues to attack. Alice is nearly taken by her portal, but Hook reaches out. Henry knocks Regina's sword away and puts her up against a tree, ready to run her through. Hook cries out as his chest glows green from the curse, but he refuses to let Alice go. Henry asks why Regina came back, and she says she had to let him know that he's not alone. He draws back his sword, hesitates, and drops it, falling into Regina's arms. Inside the castle, the dark portals close. Hook falls to the floor, his heart finally giving out. Gold rushes at Rumple, but he's quickly thrown to the floor. Alice tries desperately to wake her papa as Rumple inches forth. Gold stands and hobbles towards Rumple, telling him he will do whatever it takes to stop him. Alice warns him that without the Guardian, he'll never be able to be with Belle. But Gold knows that you don't do something for a reward, you do it because it's right. With the last bit of magic he has, Gold rips out his own heart. This selfless act strips the darkness away, and Rumple fades into smoke. He places it in Hook's chest before falling to the ground. Regina comes in, and they mourn. Elsewhere, the true Rumple wanders through the mist towards a familiar voice. They embrace and fade into light, and Rumple has finally made it home. Later, Regina sits alone. The Henrys find her and ask what's next. She says it's time for another curse, but instead of sacrificing a heart, everyone should gift a piece of their own. With the new curse, they could bring all the realms of story together, secretly tucked away in a forgotten corner of Maine. It'd sure make one hell of a theme park. Time passes, and we see that every realm now coexists peacefully in Storybrooke. Zelena brings Regina to a coronation. Everyone is there, and she's surprised to find out it's for her. The new land of realms needs a leader, and Snow White is more than happy to help crown Regina the good queen. Even Emma shows up at the last minute. So, ultimately, I can't unmute you, Elizabeth, so I muted you while I was talking there. I just wanted to give you a heads up. So like that whole thing where Snow White was like, oh, we need to go tell everyone, not to give up hope. So basically that like didn't matter.
No, a lot of throwaway stuff.
Yeah.
Fred was busy.
And that myth, sure. Like, okay, yeah, it was beautiful to see Rumple and Belle have a moment, and at the end, he made it to her and everything. But I thought it would have been a real nice touch if even like at the last moment, like Balefire just like stepped out from behind the mist as well. After
you're wishing. Sorry, I'm like, wait, I don't.
No, I'm saying that would have been, like if.
Yeah.
That would have, like, if we're talking about like that would have been like. Something else he was searching for, and like I don't know, like even if they could have brought him back for just that one scene, just like how we're upset about Robin and upset about this and upset about that, while we're all upset about like, oh, why did they only use them for that one scene? In this case, I feel like
I'm not upset.
What, that Balefire didn't come back?
No, I mean like how when you were saying that everybody was upset on how
they only used everyone for a moment.
Yeah, use them for a moment, or even Robin was even there for the dream. Shoot, I ain't upset.
Oh, you were just happy to see Robin.
I just saying. I ain't
Okay,
upset.
whatever. I'm not even whatever. And like I was saying, I thought that would have made Rumple's story really complete. And like I said, and like Bill said in the first reaction last week, like in the end, it, like especially with how it ended there, I mean, this almost really did feel like Rumple's story. He's the only character that's been there throughout every season. Well, no, Regina as well. But beyond the two of them, they're the only two. I guess Henry as a character, but then Jared Gilmore, that's a little complicated. But you don't understand what I'm saying. Yeah. So then also there was so much of this episode that left me confused as to like what was going on, where and when. So at the end, shouldn't there have been 3 Henrys at that coronation?
Honestly, I think that the reason there was 2 was because the one who had recently graduated high school had already gone through a portal and he was on his own adventure.
Who?
The one, like she just said, coming from the one who went through the portal already, gone.
Our Henry? Like the original Henry?
Yeah, the young... Exactly. Yeah, like from the beginning of the season when he went through the portal and wanted to do his own adventures, that's where he is. I really believe. To me, timelines are like a loop. You know, they're constantly circling. You know,
but I don't.
It's either that or that's the grown up. Like the grown up Henry was probably the one who went through the portal already. So that's why there's probably 2.
Yeah, they merged into one.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
No, they didn't merge into one. They were 2 separate beings still.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't have made any sense either.
I don't know. No. I'm sorry. Actually, they had kind of went over with that.
They said all the realms would be joined together.
Well, all the realms would be joined together, but if you remember what Zelina has said that Emma and Henry went on vacation for a graduation thing.
Yes.
So
yes,
in a way, there were 3 Henrys. The 3rd Henry was just not there.
No, but he couldn't be on vacation with Emma because Emma was there.
Yeah, but
once again,
it doesn't work either.
It doesn't work. I'm trying to fix it.
It just unravels the more you try to fix it. Don't worry about it. So anyway, I mentioned a bit about Rumple. How do you guys feel about Rumple's end? Do you think he deserved it? Do you think he didn't deserve it? Do you think he shouldn't have got this ending? You know, how do you get Elizabeth? How do you feel about Rumple?
It was beautiful. This was what I was going to say, and I do have more things to say. But I just continuing on from what I was saying earlier about Hook and Rumple's relationship. Did any of us see it coming where the day would come where Rumple would give Hook out of everybody his heart? You know, I'm like, that was the ultimate. To me, that's an ultimate sacrifice in a way, just because they went from mortal enemies or immortal enemies, whatever, to, friends, to give, your once truest enemy your heart is just, to me, is mind blowing. I mean, did you guys ever see that coming?
No, I mean, like, I think also, I agree with you. It was a great sacrifice, like they seemed like rivals from the very first time that, because basically he came in, like Hook came in, stole his wife. Then Rumple came back and killed his wife, killed his first love, just all the stuff that they did. So yeah, didn't see it coming. It was mind blowing. It was huge.
Yeah. And to that end, I feel like their relationship, Hook and Rumple, has evolved the most throughout the entire series, more than any other relationship or dynamic duo, whatever you want to call it.
Definitely. I definitely agree with that statement.
Did anyone notice, and I didn't notice it until the last viewing when I was writing these notes, did anyone notice that when Rumple or Gold or whatever you want to call him, whenever he ripped his own heart out, it was black.
Black as the night. I was like, Jesus.
Then it almost started glowing red.
Mm-hmm.
It
went from black to red, And I think I read somewhere or saw somewhere that that was because he was sacrificing his heart and giving it to someone else. So that was kind of why that happened. But to be honest, I'm trying to remember why his heart is black, because what season was it that his heart was made renewed?
Mm-hmm.
And then Emma became the dark swan. So I mean, his heart should have already been
white.
Better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I think in a show, like when you're born, your heart is pure as white. Like it's white. There's nothing that like it's neutral.
Red. I mean, it's
Well, no. I mean, like when you're like a baby, or because it would make sense.
That's the base color of the heart.
Yeah.
Hearts are red. They need blood to flow through.
Well, no, but I mean, like in a sense of like when you're young, when you're a baby, it's white. You're pure. Nothing. You've done nothing. And then the base color is red. Exactly.
Never mind.
I just thought that I would try and put in some perspective about the hearts. But, I mean, it would make perfect sense that, like when you're growing up and everything, now your heart is red, you've done stuff, and then, periodically it'll turn dark when you do bad stuff.
That doesn't work, honey. Just stop. Stop. It don't work. It don't work.
You're good. Just drop it.
Okay, fine. It's dropped.
Oh no, I'm messing with you.
I've dropped.
Okay, I'm messing with you. All right, no, but yeah, Monica, is there anyone here that wasn't a fan of Rumbell? Because I know in the past there have been.
I've been back and forth with it for years, but yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There was a time I was like,
I've been up, I've been down.
No, Bell needs to dump his behind and never look back.
She needs to call Tyrone.
That Stockholm syndrome was some serious stuff.
She needs to call Tyrone. Yeah, up and down.
Ultimately, everyone here came around her.
But yeah, the last.
Feel like Rumpel's proved himself.
Oh, definitely. Time and time again. I mean, of course, we knew how bad he was in the earlier seasons, but I think his ending was well deserved. He deserved it. Point blank.
All right.
I won't argue that.
For in the last season and a half, 2 seasons, I've done a complete 180 on Rumpel.
Mm-hmm.
So.
At least he's not like how when you're in the underworld, for the underworld arc, on how some people who you thought that would go on to the other place kind of really didn't deserve it. At least you got Cora, exactly. You got to see you got to see Rumpel actually rectify himself throughout countless seasons. So his ending was well deserved. Period.
Okay, and moving on, Elizabeth, do you have anything to add before we move on?
Yeah. So the boy will be his undoing. I'm still not seeing how that played out.
Mm-hmm.
Like at all. Like it was mentioned in the last episode that, it's going to play out now. And I'm like, okay, cool. Cause I'd like to see. And then I'm still not seeing if that actually happened or not. I'm very confused about that.
Well, I guess without, even though Rumpel, and I'm saying Rumpel and Gold. And so when I say Rumpel, I'm speaking of the dark one, you know what I'm saying? I guess that without him, doing everything that he did, leaving what he thought was gold without magic, and leaving him what he thought was in like this, like I'm gonna win. Obviously, I've won, and it took he had to come to that arrogance, he had to come to that point so that Gold could find a chink in his armor and kill him, and then Henry finally succumbing to Regina's, I don't know what the word
motherly love
there. Okay, there we go, maternal instincts or what have you. But yeah, without all of that, then Gold wouldn't have been able to kill Rumpel, like, Rumple had no idea that his magic was, his hand was magic, and he would have ripped his own heart out and all that kind of stuff, and if he had even a moment's thought that would have happened, then Rumple would have been able to stop it, and it but it all just happened, it happened before he had a chance to know it was happening, like he thought Henry was out there killing Regina, and then Henry didn't kill Regina. And because he put his faith, for lack of a better word, in this boy that was supposed to kill Regina, he didn't. And so that was his undoing.
Yeah.
Okay, that I just kind of,
I totally didn't hear that last part. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. I said that I'm sorry. Now I kind of lost what I said. Anyway.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Because Wish Henry failed to kill Regina.
Right. Yeah. Like, Rumple put all his faith, for lack of a better word, in Wish Henry to kill Regina.
Right.
And that would have, brought on the spell that he wanted to cast and all that. But what he didn't realize was that Wish Henry, would, not kill Regina.
Yeah. Wish Henry just really needed a hug.
And in doing so, and in putting all his faith in Wish Henry and all that, he ended up being his own undoing. But
right, if anything, I think the prophecy I think kind of played out with Henry with Wish Henry going along with Wish Rumple's plan to affect our Rumple in a way that that would be his undoing. In a kind of a sort of way. That's just a little small thought I would say about that, but that's what it just seemed like, because our Henry, who's the grown-up Henry, isn't a boy any longer, so it's not like he could, be the undoing. But I think by Wish Henry agreeing to this plot, which automatically, would affect our Rumple with the undoing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do with what you were wanting to talk about, or do you have some other things to add as well?
I did. Okay. So can I just say that Rumple withering away gave me like Harry Potter vibes? It's just the way he disintegrated. It kind of almost paralleled the way that Voldemort died.
I mean, I could think of other people who have turned into dust in other movies, but I won't mention.
Yeah, like half of the universe.
Yeah. I guess that was just the first thing that came to mind.
Okay.
I thought like that was just like the first thing that came to mind. The reason why I mentioned it. I thought it was cool to bring all the realms together too. It was such a beautiful moment. All that stuff. I guess to go through the quick flashes of the characters that we didn't see, acting out in small, in small parts as the way that they did in this episode. It was well put together. To give us all of what we've experienced all these 7 years of watching this show, and I thought like it was just the biggest best gift, I guess, that they can try and give us without messing it up too terribly bad. So,
was it just me, or were there no the dwarves and Granny and all of those people, Archie? Even then, none of them were actually at that coronation at the end, were they?
There were only a few. There were only a few.
Blue Fairy was there at the coronation. I saw her.
It was a very short shot at her.
It was when the camera was way up, panning down. I saw her in her blue dress. I recognized the dress.
It's terrible. I think we can all point it out.
I thought it was a shame that there was no familiar faces at that coronation.
Right? It was just
it was a mix of the new people.
Say it again.
Pinocchio was there.
Yeah,
he was the
small boy with the red hat.
Small Pinocchio was there. It's very quick.
I saw him on the but then it almost looked like a younger version of Geppetto and Pinocchio, because it
really
looked
I saw
like I didn't see gray hair.
I
But
did.
either way, it wasn't Tony Amendola. It was
Sure?
What part of the scene did you see? I didn't see. I'm gonna have to like go
again.
back.
It was one of those ones.
It was
like a back. It was like a huge back on the crowd, and you could definitely see Pinocchio's little red hat. It was a little.
It was definitely there. I was actually surprised.
Like freeze framing and like look at the crowd.
And I looked for Geppetto, and I didn't see Geppetto. So,
I thought that was Geppetto standing right next to Pinocchio.
You saw someone.
Logically, it would be.
Even if it was, I didn't see him. What I saw was someone with like short black hair. I could be wrong. It happened so quick. I didn't go back.
Maybe he dyed his hair.
But
I would. I mean, I guess. But
I almost got the vibe like it was a Pinocchio and a Geppetto from a different realm. Being as we have Cinderellas from different realms and all this.
My brain can't handle that.
Yeah, I know. That's when. Yes.
We only have 2 Cinderellas. Just 2.
Yeah, but we actually, if you think about it from that, comment that Henry made, we have dozens. He was like, there's stories everywhere. That he didn't just go find there's a.
Get rid of my brain.
Yeah. It was a French Snow White.
No more timelines to worry about. Although, like Elizabeth said with the loop, if we're back now and Henry from 20 years from now is back with us now and he's just existing now, he didn't go home. So does Henry grow up to then come back in time and just continue this loop and never die?
That's kind of how I think of time, at least when it comes to television shows.
Anyway, Tony, did you have anything else to add before we move on to Monica?
Logging back into my tablet. No.
Think you were on the realms. You didn't have anything else about the realms or anything like that. You were good to go.
Oh no. I mean, I also agree. I also agree with your comment that you made earlier. It would have made a hell of a theme park.
Yeah. That would be really. It could be its own. It doesn't even have to be part of like Universal. It could just be like its own theme park. And I would buy an annual pass to that.
I thought that they was it Disney World or I thought it was Disney World where they had put in something of Storybrooke, like the Bond shop.
What?
Yeah, didn't they have Gold Shop? I thought they had like I think they might have made like a little window display of Gold Shop at one point.
Yeah, just a small place, like just one place.
Yeah,
like not an actual,
I'll never get
replica
to see that.
Yeah, like I go to Universal all the time, and sometimes there's a lot of like places there that aren't actually shops or anything. It's just a facade of a building.
Right.
Have little windows there, and it'll
definitely.
So yeah,
got me an annual pass. I need to go back.
I think at one point, yes, I think you're right, Tony. I think that there was like because I almost remember seeing that in the Facebook group. Up.
I think that they also mentioned that too, like when it first came out, like earlier seasons of the show. I thought that they had made a little shop, a face front of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
I have to look that up.
Go ahead and do that. Monica, did you have anything to add? Your last one.
Operation We're Both. Just tucked away. Just stay out of Stephen King's corner of Maine, please.
No, that's gonna be Castle Rock, and that comes on Hulu at the end of this year.
Looking forward to it.
I don't know anything about Stephen King other than he's an author, so I don't get the reference.
Just about all of his stories take place in Maine.
Right.
Really? Why?
Castle Rock. It's just
where he lives.
Grow up and yeah. And what Castle Rock? Have you heard about that, Monica?
No.
They're doing a show called Castle Rock on Hulu, and it's basically going to take place. Okay, basically think of Once Upon a Time, but only Stephen King stories.
That sounds interesting.
That sounds like a Iliad.
It's a show called Castle Rock, and it takes place, of the characters from Shawshank and It, and and all of that takes place. It's as if all of the characters and everything from Stephen King stories like exist in their own universe.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I don't like it already.
New show. Oh, snap.
Leave me out of that podcast.
But Monica,
Not all of his stuff is scary.
Yeah,
Elizabeth,
Stand By Me is a great story that's not scary.
you'd probably like Eyes of the Dragon.
Shawshank Redemption.
Standard fantasy.
Mm-hmm. All great books. Then I got to start reading his books again. Jesus.
And then sometime later, Splash across the
Flash
screen.
is Stephen King?
Huh?
See, you already you see, you already somewhat know about him and didn't even know it.
Splash.
That's like Stephen King?
No. Splash is not Stephen King.
I'm so confused.
No, I was going back to talking about the show, and I was referring to that sometime later. Splash across the screen, not. Daryl handed the same way again.
All right. Yeah, he'd have made a different mermaid story.
Oh my god, Siren.
Anyway.
Oh wait a minute. Yeah. Oh god. No. This horrible live action rendition of Little Mermaid. Yeah. Oh god. Jesus Christ. It makes me want to croak.
What were you saying about
sometime later?
Right.
Thing that made me laugh. I'm like, yeah, just to tick off Anne Marie.
Mm-hmm. Love the timeline.
Did anyone else notice the pacifier on Hook's hook?
Yes. It was pink. It was pink. How could you miss it?
Was that what that was? The pacifier?
When I first saw it, I thought it was just a rubber.
I thought that. Yeah, I thought it was just there to like so he could clap and not hurt himself and stuff. You know.
Clean.
So
Yeah.
it's pacifier.
Oh, I did not notice that. Did not notice.
I mean, hey, he uses his hook for.
And they talked about in a few years doing another version of the show or another book.
Have they actually said that?
No. I mean,
just in
hypothetically, not like actually laying plans.
Mm-hmm.
Adam and Eddie.
Yeah.
They're gonna do what now?
We've got some stories. We could, if they feel like it in a few years, in that kind of vein.
Yeah, there's nothing.
In a book or in a what?
Theoretically a show, but they were all,
This was all just off the cuff.
Hypothetical, pipe dream kind of thing.
Exactly.
I can dream. I can have hope.
I follow Adam and Eddie
have
hope. I follow Adam and Eddie on Twitter, so I'm always up to date with whatever they're doing.
I need to follow them, but then I need to pay
Are they
attention.
doing amazing stories?
That I'm not sure.
Yes, I did hear that.
Yes, they're doing amazing stories next. It's a show. Tony and Elizabeth, you probably won't know anything about this.
Yeah.
It's a show, especially Elizabeth. Well, not ouch. No. You're young. I'm not trying to.
Wait. It's a story about
you act like I'm so much younger than you.
What is it about?
What? No, seriously. There's a show that was in the 80s called Amazing Stories. Do either of you remember that show or no?
No, I was born in 87. Why would I remember that?
Well, that was my point.
You could have watched it sometime down the road.
Although, just to defend myself, I grew up watching Happy Days and Bewitched and The Munsters. So all those 50 era shows like Nick at Night, I grew up watching those.
Happy Days was in the 80s.
No, Happy Days was not in the 80s. It was in the 70s.
It was aired in the 80s.
It was late 70s, early 80s.
I watched the reruns, is what I'm saying. I watched the reruns of all those shows, but I grew up watching them and I love them.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry.
Oh, I wasn't trying to look. I don't know what that was about.
Did I not defend myself well enough because Tony's laughing at me?
No, no one's laughing at you. But
no, you're fine.
What I was saying is
smack it, Tony. Oh, okay.
I want to say maybe Apple TV is doing this one, but there's a show called Amazing Stories that was in the mid 80s. It was this show, almost think of it as like a Twilight Zone with kind of more of an upbeat feel to it.
That sounds not bad.
It was produced, I believe, by Steven Spielberg, and it was directed each week by like a lot of contemporaries at the time, like Joe Dante and people like that. One of the episodes that I remember, because again, this was on when I was younger, was this episode where like this guy like could draw things and make them, like anything in life.
That's the one I remember too.
Yeah, that's always the one that like, for some reason, that's always the one that sticks out in everyone's mind. There's other ones, like there was this one where there was like this like hoarder guy that had to pass on his, I don't know, like I said, it's a pretty interesting show.
So they're recreating it, basically.
Yeah, they're doing a reboot of the show. It's an anthology show of not necessarily sci-fi or fantasy, but just kind of in the kind of like the fantastic realm. That's, a la, like I said, Amazing Stories. But anyway, yeah, that's the next show that Eddie Horowitz and Eddie Kitsitz and Adam Horowitz. Sorry, got it backwards, mixed up. Either way, anyway, yeah, that's the next show they're doing.
Oh, but what I was saying was next time, based on what Regina said, they should name it Second Chance.
Did you guys hear about Zelina's idea or Rebecca Mader's idea?
What?
Rebecca Mader was asked if they were kind of along the same lines as Monica was just saying, in the future, Pipe Dream, do you think what could be another show? And Rebecca Mader said it would be her and Regina as magical cops, like a Cagney and Lacey.
I love it.
Anyway, unless Monica has anything else to add, I think that does it for this episode of Once Upon a Time. And so yeah, the ratings held, I'm not going to say held strong, but they definitely held. Let's put it that way. They held. Pretty much every week, we kind of skipped a few weeks because it was all pretty much the same thing and kind of depressing because, not to say it was a 1 or anything like that, but it pretty much hovered between like a 2 and a 2.5 all season. Which is not, like I said, it's not like the worst, but it was never the best performing of its night, and we're talking about Friday nights, which is kind of like when the show was sent to Friday, they kind of was like, oh, this is kind of the graveyard, this is where shows go to die. And, with the way today people consume media, that's not necessarily all that true with your +7s and your Hulu and your Netflix. I mean, so many people don't even watch it. They'll wait until the end of a season so they can sit down and I hate that. I personally hate that. While I have a soapbox, I'll just say this real quick. It gets on my nerves when people do that because, like, if you aren't watching the shows, then people aren't going to make the shows. If everyone decided, oh well, I'm just not going to watch this show until they make all of the episodes, well then they won't make a second season. Then all of a sudden they're like, why didn't the second season happen? Because no one watched the first season. Everyone's waiting for it to come out on DVD or something. That shows how old I am. But anyway,
no, but it makes sense.
At least you didn't say VHS.
But not seasons didn't really come out on VHS.
Yeah,
that's not true. I have one old season of Friends that is on VHS.
Say, if you did they did some.
Season?
Wow.
Yeah, that was the end. That was like anyway. What was I saying now? I'm sorry. Gosh darn it, I lost my train of thought.
At least I used to have it.
The +7s and the binge watchers.
Netflix. I hate Netflix. I hate shows that like. Well, no. I like Netflix, but I hate like shows that we're gonna film the whole season all at once, and then we're just gonna drop it. And if you want to be in the conversation, then you have to watch it now. And if you don't watch it now, then it won't matter.
Especially when they don't show their ratings too.
It's stupid because okay, first of all, if you've got a show, even if you record it all at the same time, if you've got you air it every week over 12 weeks, and then it keeps it in the conversation. People actually talk about it each week, as opposed to everyone binge watching and regurgitating it for 2 weeks, and then everyone just forgets about it.
True. Are we still talking about once? I forgot.
No, I'm sorry. No, this was
Netflix in general.
This was just me getting on my soapbox. I'm going off on a tangent. I'm not going to have a soapbox after this episode, okay, guys? So,
this is so true.
I'm going on a filibuster. I'm not going to use the bathroom. I'm not going to eat. I'm just going to sit here and talk about everything that aggravates me. I'm just going to sit here and talk about everything that aggravates me. I'm going to hold you all hostage. No,
I'm going to leave.
I'm just seriously though, guys. Seriously.
Can I go eat dinner?
I'm done. I just, like I said, I started going off on a tangent there, and I felt like I wanted to say something that I don't get a chance to say all the time. So there we go.
It was all good.
Do you feel better?
And you know what?
You feel better, Bobby?
Yes. And you know what? You didn't even mention Buffy at all. The tip jar is empty.
Whole episode, and we almost went a whole episode, and then Tony mentions it. Damn it.
I didn't say anything about, well, you know what? This kind of reminds me of an episode of Buffy. You went da-da-da-da-da-da, you know.
I'm so proud of you, Bobby. You've evolved. You've
evolved, dude.
Whatever.
I mean, we went through like the whole season with you mentioning it probably like every other episode. It's okay.
Right.
At least.
But,
yeah.
Did either y'all come back and watched it?
We didn't even mention the whole Maleficent Bizarro thing.
Yeah, you know what? I thought we mentioned that last week when we were like,
we did. What the hell was that?
Right, what in the world?
That was a throwaway line, total throwaway line.
I was tracing the Z to Anne Marie.
It wasn't just a throwaway line. It was like 80 yard in.
Like somebody just read like, okay, so basically I can imagine this being like the writers are at the table writing like the last episode, like, oh shoot, you guys, what are we supposed to say about
They said they had to. They said that was the one thing they had to put in, because they got tired of everyone asking them about.
We've been hounding them for years.
Who dad was.
It would have been
to me, it almost
the whole Zorro thing is
it would have been nice.
Left field.
It would have been nice instead of a throwaway. How about when that episode when Emma was like, "I'll help you find your father." Why couldn't we just quickly have had, I don't know, a 10-minute part in one of the earlier episodes after she said that line and figure out who's her father, and then we would have been done.
That could be said for so many things that I could like we could write a blog and keep it going for weeks about like things that like they the
Mad Hatter
never
That's one way to stay connected.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean that ratings, obviously no news other than that the creators are gonna be blah blah blah. Oh, arbitrary scale. Yeah, I guess we almost forgot the arbitrary scale. So for the last,
did not have, because I thought it was a good one.
For the last time, out of 135,000 drops of blood and tears.
Damn. Going out on a dark note.
Yes. Because in light of the dark.
Yeah, this is the realm of blood and tears. That's what Wish Henry said. So
exactly. So
out of 135,000 drops of blood and tears, he said it right before he cut Regina.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He said, this is the realm of blood and tears, or where stories are written in blood and tears, and now they'll be written in yours.
So at least we know what the name of the realm is. Tee.
Yeah,
It's
the
not
land
a
without
saying.
magic, the realm of blood and tears.
Yes.
Which realm? This is okay. Good to know. No.
Terrible.
All right, Tony, we'll start with you. What do you want to give this week's episode?
I want to give this week's episode 100,000 blood and tears. Oh, no, not 100,000. My bad. That's too low. 100 and 115,000 drops of blood and tears.
Okay. All right. Is there? Let's just quickly.
No, I don't have anything because I've already said it. I've already said it in the last 2 points I had. So
okay, just want to make sure.
I loved it. It was great.
Elizabeth, what do you want to give this week's episode?
I really don't even remember the huge number you gave.
135,000. Blood and tears. Drops of blood and tears.
132,000.
Okay, pretty far up there.
Yeah.
Just. I mean, is there anything you want to add? Like, quickly, why you knocked off the 3,000 there?
I mean, it's just overall, I think it was a pretty good end to the series. Wish we could have seen Emma and Hope a little bit longer.
Yeah, that was kind of a jip.
Sorry, I'm late.
Although I did love that was the callback to the series beginning. Did love that part.
Okay. And Monica, what do you want to give this week's episode?
I'm gonna go ahead and go with 135,000.
Perfect.
I mean, I like the story. Given the limited amount of time that they had left to tell it, they did what they could.
Mm-hmm.
And also with trying to keep everybody happy with wanting to see, so-and-so one last time, as doing as much of that as they could. Mm-hmm. It was a difficult balancing act. So
yeah, it was, and I will give you that. Yeah, I mean, regardless of all the things that I'm not gonna say I was feeling haterade on it, but I mean, there's definitely some things that I felt that they could have changed a bit different. But at the same time, I do feel you're right that like they had a lot they had to do in these last 2 episodes, in the last run, really, because they didn't know until they had already ran full steam ahead towards a different story that they were going to have to change course. So I'll take all that into consideration when giving my score, which I will say right now will be 133,533.
Jesus!
Wow,
that's a specific number.
That's an arbitrary number as well. No, but for the most part, I'm not going to say it was perfect. But I mean, it hit me where it needed to hit me. I mean, would I have liked to have seen more of the Storybrooke citizens? Yeah. Would I have liked to have, had more time to breathe with this little mini arc? Yeah. But all in all, it did what it needed to do. And that's really all you could ask for. I think it ended in a place, I think it ended where we thought it would end, the show bringing magic back to this realm. And I liked that part of it as well. So I'm not going to say that everything was like totally like, the first half of the season, yeah, that was like, we didn't need that. But Gothel's storyline, I actually liked Gothel's storyline. I liked, it was kind of almost the origin of the land without magic. And so this was the story of us bringing magic back to this realm. And, that's what Regina did. I guess the next step would be, I think what we all wanted to see is kind of like the outside world finding out about this as well.
I'm pretty sure it's well cloaked. I mean, it's got to be, right?
I would hope so.
But that would be the next step.
Flying around.
That would be
because if it wasn't cloaked, I mean, then it would really be an amusement park.
But that would be the next step. I'm saying is that like if from here we were going to continue the story, I feel like that would be the next dramatic leap to take. Would be
the world finding Storybrooke.
Right. Exactly.
Like I thought I think if anything, if it would have continued through this, I guess from a villain's perspective, if there was a new villain, that villain would have to be very powerful to try and take over that very small but very large pocket space of realms.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess this is coming to an end, guys. I guess this, I mean,
we're here while we're trying to, slow down the ending and all that. I guess I will boost mine up to about 120,000. Only because I actually liked how the past people, like the flashes of people who we've seen throughout the whole show. I actually did really like that, and that actually touched me a lot because I thought I was like, wow, I've been watching a show for 7 years. And I mean, I can remember when I saw the trailer for the very first episode, I was like, I want this. I want this show. And now we've had it for 7 years, and it's like, wow, great.
Yeah, and I think we mentioned it last time. I think one of the things that we brought up on the past podcast with Bill and Anne-Marie was like, what was our favorite thing about the show? And like I said before, it's this right here. I enjoyed downloading every week and listening to Bill and Anne-Marie, and getting into chat and making friends with you guys, and that then getting the chance to do what we're doing now, to take it over from Bill and Anne-Marie when they felt that they'd had enough of it. And I mean, it's just been a great experience. I've met a lot of great people, got together with you guys over this past weekend. I feel like, this isn't going to end. You guys are my friends. We'll still every once in a while pop in to hang out and just for kicks and giggles, just say, hey, what's going on? And that's my favorite part of the show, that, there's the hope and all, but like, to me, it's really about it bringing these people together. And,
definitely,
for what it's worth, I'm going to miss getting together with you guys each week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like,
and
everything about it. Like, everything about it.
To, like, bring anything down there.
No, like,
Anyway, if no one else has anything to add, I think it's time to for me to try to find the theme song on my phone, like I always do every week, and stumble around and blah blah blah. But yeah, so yeah, I guess for the last time, signing out. Who wants to give us a countdown?
Why don't we all do it one at a time?
Just one.
God,
Yeah.
oh, you want to make me sad? By the time we get to the last one, oh God.
I just think it's a good idea to do it like that.
Oh, good.
Okay,
I guess we gotta start with 4 instead of 3.
Well, if we're gonna do it all at the same, do it all separately. I still want to do it at the same time at the end, because I just like us trying to stumble.
Okay.
Always. Or like how Snape said it. Always.
Signing out. So signing out. This is Bobby Hawk. Greetings from Storybrooke.
This is Elizabeth Placencia. Greetings from Storybrooke.
This is Tony Hooper. Oof. Greetings from Storybrooke.
And
this is Monica Jones. Greetings from Storybrooke.
And until okay, who wants to do the countdown? Who's doing the countdown?
I thought we were all going to take a number.
Oh, is that how we're doing it?
Yeah, like, except starting with not 3, but 4.
I understand, because there's 4 of us. Okay. So 4,
3,
2,
1.
Greetings from Storybrooke. And I was so caught up with doing that I didn't even play the song. Ah!
Jesus!
Wait, music. You know what? I'm gonna have to do that again because I have the music down on my soundboard.
Oh my god.
Take 3.
We can't even go out on a serious note.
Hey, this is us. This is us.
This is us.
So,
Oh my god.
In this crazy mixed-up world, you need fake news you can depend on.
Fake up. Counter. Blah, blah.
When news is breaking, it's probably the fakest.
It's probably the fakest that's breaking it. That's me. I'm Paul Defoe.
Breaking the fake news for real. From KCOM Studios in somewhere west of New York City, this is The Fakist, and it starts now.
Only one podcast is on it. On the scene, making shit up, breaking the fake news for real. With more reporters, covering more fake stories.
Excuse me, Ella Fitzpatrick with The Fakist.
I'm Byron Seals from the Mythical Weather Crisis Center.
Cast Birdman Stan on The Fakist. She takes the lazy eye in the sky right into the heart of the action.
For The Fakist, Martin Zendler. Grab my new album, The Choices, by me, Jake Stein.
Coming June 18th to Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, Google Podcast, and VoiceFacts. I can also email you the transcript if you want. Check us out at thefakist.com and subscribe on Apple Podcast for a new thrilling episode every 2 weeks. Pretty timely. The Fakist. We fake it when we make it.
Hello there, greetings, followers. I know it's been a long time since I have talked to you, but hello. I hope you've all recovered at least partially from watching the final episode. We are currently fighting some tech issues to get the full-on stream going. Oh, goody, a creeper. But stay tuned. Hopefully we will be live soon with our full episode.
Well, we can go ahead and keep it live for a couple minutes.
Okay, apparently we can keep it live for a few minutes.
Pass it around, everyone can say hi.
Okay, sure. Let me do that. Hi, Monica. Say hello.
hello. It's like choked to death.
No choking to death. We do not want to choke to death. Other deaths, yes. Choking to death, no.
No.
Say hello, puppy.
Hello.
I am not good at Facebook Live like this. On the spot. Say hello, Tony.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
And, well, you've already talked to Bill. So, yeah. I'm going to let us figure out what's going on, and then we will be
here. It's like she's never live streamed before. Okay. There we go. I haven't live streamed before either. Yeah, Tony right now is working on a fix for us, right? Because we had to bring the cable modem down so we could hardwire the internet because our living room's not set up for live streaming anymore. And yeah, it's not going awesome. But hopefully Tony will be able to get this figured out soon in short order, and we can get going. Hey, Hope's watching. Hi, Hope. We're working on some technical issues. Tony's back there working right now. So hopefully soon we will get started. Hope Molinex hearted that. It's pretty amazing.
Hearted what?
Not really that.
She hearted. She just hit a heart thing. I don't know how you do it, really.
I know, you don't understand Facebook.
I don't. Not really. Here, you want to say hi to Hope? Say hi to Hope.
Hello, Hope. How are you?
Hope. Nice. If we could figure out what was going on with this modem here. Oh, she says Thor. Thor. Yeah, I wanted to go live rated 10, but unfortunately the internet's not cooperating with us. It's a shame. It's a darn shame.
I blame the fairies.
I do blame the fairies. At least Blue's dead now, so... Oh, spoilers. We miss you too, Hope, for sure. Everyone misses Hope, right?
Yeah.
Of course. It's been ages. I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
You don't know what to do? You don't know what to say?
No. I don't know. I don't usually have a camera in front of my face.
Well, how about talking about what you felt it was not,
We're going to be doing that in the episode.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about your trip up here?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Do you really want to relive that?
I was running late because I had to pull over twice.
Poor car. What about?
Yeah.
I don't know. He made us leave it on live.
We miss you too, Hope. Oh, now there's 2 people watching.
Oh, no.
Oh,
There's
nice.
more people. Thrilling. I'm so far. Talk about being behind on the season. This girl right here watched about 2 episodes at the beginning of the season and 3 episodes at the end of the season. I have no idea what happened in the middle, and I am not really that lost.
And
it felt a little soap opera-like. I was like, and I could pick right up with a few little connector bots. Mm-hmm. So it was interesting. I still think that last season's season finale was a bit more of a series finale than this was. But hey, they had to wrap up the storylines they started.
And to be honest with you, they didn't even wrap up the storylines they started.
Nope.
They did that 3 episodes ago and then started another storyline for the last 2 episodes.
Because they could bring people back.
For 2 minutes.
For 2 minutes a pop. Maybe a line. Some people were posting on their social media so much that I thought they would have a significant part. They did not. I was sad.
Yeah.
Characters that I enjoy, I did not get to see a lot of. And nobody hashtag brought back Neil. So, you know, I'm over here we won't talk about baby Neil. And I hear Bobby talking. Bobby is not nerdy. Bobby's Thor.
Hello. Bobby's what?
Bobby is Thor.
Oh.
So, alrighty. The first half was rough, but the second half was a bit more solid. That's what I hear as well. Unfortunately,
the season
season as a whole, that the first half was rough. Oh, hi, Tony! So,
Tony's working on it.
Tony's working on things. What did the cable people say?
I couldn't get anyone on the phone. I couldn't get them to tell me what was
Friday, still want to know what happened to Anastasia. I legit forgot that person existed. Oh,
I'm surprised that they didn't bring her back for the last time. I didn't think about that until just now.
Yeah, Anastasia.
And Drizella.
They sure didn't.
They sure let a lot of things go.
Well, they sent them back through the
Yeah,
portal.
but this brought all the realms back together.
This did, well, spoilers for those who haven't watched. You know, spoilers, that's the point. Connection available. Woohoo! Oh, goodness, there's 4 people watching.
Oh, now there's 4 people.
I used to not be nervous when you guys watched me talk about things, but now it makes me a little crazy. I blame the magic juice. So, yeah. All the things are together. Shouldn't all the people be there? Where were Anna and Elsa and Olaf?
That's all what I wanted to ask.
I would like to see Olaf. I would like to see the other Alice.
Build a snowman.
Yes, I want to build a snowman.
I don't.
Neither do I. That's why I live in Florida. Ash Nicole says, "My bro Tony." So here we sit, waiting for the tech people to do the tech things. Does anybody have any questions? Let's go with a mild AMA happening here because we got to pass the time. We're going to be up all night doing this, it feels like. Universal's going to be interesting tomorrow. Let me tell you, friend.
I'm coming.
Let's see. Oh, goodness, I have to hit see more. Okay. It's my dream when I have a lot more free time to go to episode by episode and write all the dropped and leftover questions from the series. Oh, 7 doesn't count for me.
So you would just do the first 6?
It would be
even
like...
Even on the rewatch, you wouldn't watch the
I would not watch it. I would still not rewatch it. I kind of feel like it's sort of like The West Wing, where a lot of people stopped watching after Aaron Sorkin left after season 4. But they went through 7 seasons. They just stop. They're like, okay, the good show creator, showrunner's gone. This is the end for me. So I feel that way after, well, let's be honest, it was before season 6, but I'll make it through. So I just kind of want to go back to the stuff that I thought was bad and go, that actually was not so bad. Sort of like how we did with Tallahassee a few minutes ago. So, hi. So it's not just, me over here talking to myself. Oh, hi.
Tallahassee was good, in my opinion.
I told you, we had a discussion about this. I hated it the first time, spewed the haterade, and then I liked it the second time. So, yeah.
It had the best music. They were cool, crazy kids, going through and taking stuff from the convenience store and all that crap. We were all there. Wait. You were there. I was there.
We were all there.
We were all there. Even cool Emma trying to be, 18 or whatever she was, with the glasses, the ponytail.
We're not going to talk about the glasses and the ponytail because I'm rocking the glasses and the ponytail at this very moment. And I know I'm not 18. So it's been almost 20 years.
Don't mess with that for a minute. You might need to ping it or something.
Oh, goody. They're pinging things.
Yes.
Pinging is happening. Pinging. That's usually a good thing. He's going to ping it and be like, you do not have anything plugged in. Do you want to build a snowman?
We're trying to fix this. Okay, I'm over by the modem.
He's by the modem. I kind of want to how do I flip you? Do I flip you this way? Nope. That's my viewers. Nope. It's like I've never done this before.
They went completely out immediately.
And here we see the Wild Bill Meeks at work, trying to fix things. This is what he...
Okay.
The croc hunter, Steve. What was his name?
Steve Merlin.
Steve Merlin, the crocodile hunter.
Right. And here we see the Wild Bill.
Okay. Did someone tell Liz that we were running late?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure she picked out. She's probably one of our watchers right now.
Nice.
We've actually lost somebody, so we must be.
We lost somebody.
Anyway, well, we didn't lose them; they just left.
Internet connection dropped.
Yes, the internet. Oh, maybe their internet connection dropped too.
Hope.
Hold.
Wait.
Ready?
Yes. Have hope, people. Hope is the biggest thing that we can have right now. Hope. I will have hope forever. Oh my God.
It's moments like this.
Well, I was going to say, we used to have it hooked up to this.
The question was...
In the 6 or 7 months it's been upstairs.
The question was, what story that they never did are you, do you wish they'd have covered?
Okay,
actually... Think about that. Exactly. Liz, we haven't forgot about you. Bill is on the phone with the internet trying to solve things, so we're just live streaming randomness until we can actually do, an episode of sorts, and it's going significantly longer than previously anticipated, and now we're playing 20 questions. So there you go. You caught up.
All right, so...
Oh, wait, we have an update.
We have an update.
We're going to try and connect over Wi-Fi. Give me about 3 minutes here.
Okay, so what did you...
What did I think about?
Think about all that. What story do you wish they'd have covered?
Can you unhook that?
I'll be right there.
Oh, he's going to leave suspense. We have no idea. It was his turn, and we're up to 5 people. Hello, 5 people, including Liz and Hope. We're on Wi-Fi. You're not on Wi-Fi because the modem's not plugged in.
My bad.
You're on a phantom thing. No talking once without me. Well, we're kind of are going to talk some once because it's a once live stream, but we're not talking that much. We've only talked about a few things, and
here, lift up this chair for a second.
Sorry, I do not control the internet. These two control the internet right now. The Wild Bill and the Wild Tony. This could be why we have the internet problems.
Hey, you do it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not doing anything. I wouldn't have moved in the first place. So, oh, they're getting one. Let me tell you, they're getting one.
Well, here, I have.
Oh, you have. Oh, are you able to talk now?
Yes, I'm
okay.
very able to talk.
All right. Or bring it on. Doop, doop, doop.
As I have my popcorn.
Are you eating all of the Boom Chicka Pop?
Oh, all of the Boom Chicka Pop. So basically, I really wish that they did more mythology, Greek mythology.
Yes.
Like we had.
Oh, don't turn me off.
Oh God.
Me too, guys.
we had young Zeus, or per se, young
We had a Zeus.
We had a version of Zeus, and on how what's his face? What is his name? Merlin was the first person to go, for the goblets of magic. Merlin, short-lived Merlin, who was supposed to be the most powerful. The most powerful person who have ever honed magic, within the land. But also on how we had Hades and things like that, and Hercules. So it would have been great while we were down in the underworld to see more Greek mythology.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
Boom chicka pop.
Boom chicka pop pop. This is what we do. This is the behind the scenes. This is how the sausage gets made, as they say. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay. You like my vintage shirt? Because it feels vintage now. It's 5 years old or something?
Did you already say yours, Anne?
Did I say what?
Did you say what you always wanted that we didn't get?
Oh yeah.
No, because I don't know.
Switch around the camera.
The camera's already on me, thank you. Let's see. What do I wish they'd have covered that they didn't cover? I mean, they covered all the classic princesses and most of them twice.
Cinderella.
Rapunzel, I believe they did. So, I feel like there was Rapunzel Land in the second. Whatever.
Not necessarily
her. Well, as you can tell, I didn't watch the show.
Right, she wasn't like let's just say she wasn't who she was supposed to be. She ended up being somebody else's mom.
Of course she was somebody else. Anyway, spoiler for Anne Marie. That's okay. It's the Lost season. Lost reference. All right, it has to happen, I guess. I don't know what I'd want them to do. We're so lost. Wrong show. No, I like the mythology. Amy P! Hello! We should be up with a proper live stream with lower thirds and such soon, so feel free to hang out for the craziness.
I have a question for every single last one of y'all right here. Where were you for the past 2 years?
Amen.
All we wanted was some feedback. That's it. Just one little 2-second or 2-minute voicemail. Like, oh, well, I think I like this episode and because of blah, 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 blah.
It wouldn't even need to be that much longer. So, yeah. Okay, but going back to the question, I'm going to go with the mythology again. I think I like the mythology aspect. But does it really fit with fairy tales? I don't know.
I think it probably would have definitely been up under season 6.
Yeah.
Lost.
Says the DNS isn't responding.
Untold.
Uh-oh.
Let's put a OUAT spin on, the Greek mythology and the untold stories of the Greek gods.
See, there you go.
Great.
Ooh, we're back.
We're back, yes.
Rumor has it we have internet.
Get ready.
Don't lose them yet, though.
I'm not.
Don't lose them yet, though.
Well, I'm losing them without trying to. I'm not trying to lose anyone.
Yep.
You can even do CMD just to make
So.
sure. But
I'm not going to.
I don't think.
Oh, okay. So can I?
No, not yet.
Why?
Because.
You don't make sense.
Keep them talking for a second.
No one's talking. I'm talking. No one wants that.
He wants to be sure.
Well, I just need a second to get this.
Okay, that's fine, but we can have like 2 minutes in between.
No.
Welcome to Behind the Sausage. Wait, here you go. Sneak peek of things to come. Okay, see.
All right, don't show this because I'm.
Oops.
In private key up.
Oh, okay. Well, did I turn that around?
Boom, chicka,
Oh,
pop.
boom, chicka, pop.
Mm-hmm. Boom, chicka, pop. Like, hi, I've come to let you guys know that we're in the behind the scenes of Greetings from Storybrooke. We cannot show you what's going on right now. It is
We're behind the scenes.
You're behind the scenes.
We're just eating some boom chicka pop.
Boom, chicka, pop, pop. And oh my God, it's just
Bobby's over here.
Yeah. He's ready to start.
He's just like, all right, let's get this going.
Let's just go.
Amy said I saw AM say something and then
You don't have to.
No, I'm going to. Well, I want to bring the laptop a little closer to us so people can hear us a little better.
So the mic is not.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, something happened with the.
That's what.
Oh, okay.
Okay, wait.
There we go. Can you hear us okay, Liz?
Yeah, you cut Monica out of the frame.
Oh, shoot.
No.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
She's that one. She's that one.
On Hope's video.
Now I can't. You guys gotta squeeze in more. I'm just happy I can see you.
hold on.
Oh, sweetie.
We're happy we can see you too.
Sorry.
That's okay. I just. Oh.
Sorry.
I don't know. I'm trying to do things.
I hope. I think you're in there.
This is the last stream that I'm trying to direct people to this stream.
Okay.
Okay. Wow.
Uh-huh.
Yay!
Jesus.
Okay. Robert?
I'm trying to get my cable
All right.
done.
So,
Let's just go.
can you hear me? Do I sound like I'm in a well?
Oh,
A little bit, but it's okay.
I'm sure.
All right.
Streaming our stream. I'm sorry. Okay, Bobby, what did you like about this episode?
Oh my God. Okay. So,
Do you remember the episode that we?
yeah. Is that you asking me?
I'm
Okay.
asking you for the stream.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying. Okay.
All right, get closer to Anne-Marie. All I see is your shoulder.
All you see is my shoulder. Okay then.
Come on, I don't bite. Come on over.
Is that better?
There you go. Yay!
All right, so yes, obviously we're having quite a few technical issues tonight. I'm glad I'm not the only one who has to deal with these kind of things. Okay, so this is a loosey-goosey episode. Obviously, we're just talking about our instant reactions. What did I like about the episode? I didn't.
It was the way you said it. It was very Emery. What did I like?
To be honest with you, I don't know if I liked this episode all that much.
Really?
No.
In your voice, no.
Quite a few things were, it was great to see, Rumpel get his happy ending. The Regina thing was a little lackluster, to be honest with you. Everything felt a little anticlimactic. It certainly didn't feel like a season finale, let alone a series finale. We've discussed over the past few episodes things being felt like they've been just brushed under the rug. That certainly did not stop during this episode. They did not. There's quite a few questions they still did not answer. I walked away still trying to, like obviously we only watched the episode once, and I'm not talking about the name of the show. But I still don't know if I've wrapped my head around it fully, especially when it comes to who was who, what was what. Was that our blue fairy? Was that the Wish blue fairy? In the end, was when we see the two Henrys, is that the young Henry, is that Witch Henry or is that our Henry? And why are they existing at the same time? Because even if the realms are put together, the timeline should be put together because he's existing anyway.
I have such a headache.
So for the most part, while it was great to see everyone again, it also served as a reminder, being as we only saw them for a minute or two, that we haven't seen them, and it was cool to see Grumpy, but what was the point? It was cool to see Emma even, but what was the point? I guess we'll get more into it, when we get into the proper episode of breakdown and whatnot, but
Can I talk about what I liked about the episode?
Yes, Bill, it is your turn.
I like that they finally gave Rumple his big heroic sacrifice and his happy ending.
Yeah.
Like, I think, at the end of the day, this show has always been about Rumple and the Evil Queen, and I think they both got exactly what they deserved at the end of everything. Like, and that's not, I know Rumple died, but I'm not saying he's
That's what he deserved.
That's what he deserved.
So do you think the prophecy was fulfilled?
The prophecy?
It's like hundreds of years old.
See, I would almost say it might have been the Dark One's undoing. Henry might have ultimately been the Dark One's undoing, but I think he was Rumple's doing. He wasn't doing Rumple, mind. I think he was the Rumple sort of. He's the person who brought Rumpelstiltskin back to the person he always wanted to be.
Okay.
And in those last moments.
Henry was, you're saying?
Yeah, Henry was. Yeah.
Okay.
Henry?
Well, yeah, I think they had a similar moment at the end of the Neverland arc when he stabbed Peter Pan, and but they kind of walked it back almost immediately.
Of course they did.
And now they can't because the show's over.
Right.
This is it. Welcome to the legacy.
Right. Welcome to the legacy that we're going to leave.
All right, I'm done.
Monica.
Yeah.
Loved some of the moments like Rumple getting his happy ending, and Regina and all the feels about everything turning out okay. But yeah, it really did feel rushed.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's not, that's something that couldn't be helped given the situation. Or
did we really need to see everyone there? I mean, it was cool to see Granny.
Yes,
but like
someone to be.
It does seem that it was almost the sacrifice of the story itself that we did feel so rushed. I mean, granted, that was what would have added another maybe 10 minutes that we could have spent on the story.
We spent like 4 minutes waiting for Emma to come through a door, and then the hubbub of her interrupting the story.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, while it was really cool to see Emma and everyone else there just really wasn't any point for them to be there other than to be there.
I disagree.
All right, well, Liz,
talk about it.
Okay. So earlier today, I was at In-N-Out. Remember, Bill?
Yes. We had a wonderful In-N-Out experience after we
Emma and Hook have a baby girl, and it would be like so perfect if they named her Hope. I literally thought that a couple hours ago, and then I see the episode. I'm like, yes, I called it. So
named after Hope Mullinax, by the way.
Absolutely. Know how much I've been dying to see that baby. So I don't like it to see it. They kept it kind of covered. I don't like that part, but it was at least I know it was a girl.
Germs. They were protecting it from germs.
Magical germs.
This is what babies you do. Cover them.
So, and then it was a throwaway line, but they finally resolved Lily's father.
Okay.
Go.
Zorro.
That was not a resolution of any sort. That was like car talk.
So, did you see the show last night?
Zorro
so,
was
did you
a
know
dragon.
that Zorro was the dad? Like, oh, I didn't know he was a dragon. He was a dragon. Shut the front door.
To be fair, I called Zorro being her dad back in season 2 before she ever even appeared on the show.
I don't know what Mildred said. I couldn't hear him.
I
Project.
I'll come up here.
Oh, this is how tonight's going to go, everyone. Oh, so he has to put his face in the whole screen?
Yes.
No, I'm not.
It was
Am I the biggest one on the screen,
Oh my
baby?
God, it was a joke.
No, I don't even see you.
She can't even see you now.
She can't even see you.
Oh, because she's looking at that one up there.
Hold on, I'm trying to go there.
No,
You're over
There we go.
yeah, that's
in
his
front
hand.
of Tony's face. There you
I
go.
have a tattoo.
I have 2 tattoos.
I didn't know that.
Guess where the other one's at?
No, thank you. I'm good.
It's on my other arm. There's a Superman and there's an Iron Man, and that's it. Superman?
Need to work on that.
Superman?
Oh, wait a minute. You showed me that before, didn't you?
Probably, yeah. I like to show it up. It's fun.
Okay, so Zorro, you called it in season 2?
Yeah, I said I called Zorro in season 2 before Lily ever appeared on the show. It was a joke. It was a silly joke.
Oh, okay, I'm like, that's not possible.
Okay, so sorry, I'm just going to do this.
You're just going to take
Oh, do we have people say
Yeah, we have a couple people in there. We have Ash and Hope. Well, Hope hasn't seen it yet. Ash, did you see it?
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
Like, if she's watching, we're like custodial.
Oh, that's fine. She wouldn't be in here if she cared
Yeah, about spoilers, right?
Maybe she's gone now.
She left us. What else was there? Was there something else?
I was saying anyone in the chat room, what was your favorite moments of the episode? But weren't we kind of going around?
We were. Tony.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, what was the first one again?
Favorite part of the episode?
Oh, by the way, Hope doesn't care about being spoiled.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, what I liked about the episode.
You sound like me.
I guess to see Zelina and little Robin, it was great to
Little Robin was
she was so cute. Like, it was great to see her as a child and things like that. It was great to see Zelina again, like, ultimately my favorite character. I remember when, like, the trailer came on for season 3B, and when they said the world's most sinister characters, I squealed like a little schoolgirl. So she was like my favorite character. I loved her, definitely since her very beginning. Everybody coming in was kind of, let me see, kind of.
Oh, he took notes.
I took notes. But
By the way, Lauren Galloway called us super cute.
Oh, thanks, Galloway.
I'm only going to say one thing off the sheet of paper, but okay, yeah, having everyone back gave me the hope that this show has always given me.
Oh,
yeah.
Very good.
I loved it, so except for the last part, but I'm gonna leave that for later. But that was it.
All right. Monica, what about
she
you?
already
She
did.
already did.
Yeah, you were paying attention, apparently.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I thought you had.
Okay, well,
I
we're
was
going to skip
orchestrating.
Henry.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding.
That's fine. You can skip me.
Also, Hope doesn't care about spoilers,
You're coming
and
back.
Tony Zelina's song is still the best one in the musical episode.
Oh, of course.
No,
Wicked
but-
always wins. Wicked
See, I
always wins.
really like the Evil Queen song.
I like Tuck's song.
You like her song?
I like Emma's song.
Which song, Liz?
Emma.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow is uncertain,
By the way, editing that for you guys was incredibly difficult because I felt the need to put a clip of every song.
I
in.
remember, yeah.
So that was the longest edit I've had for you guys since you took over the show, for sure. But it was worth it.
Worth it.
Probably.
It was great.
Probably.
And Hope in the chat room sings it was defying gravity from Wicked but Evil. Did we ever say Greetings From Storybrooke?
No, because we said this is just like we're happy to be on.
I started.
podcast.
I started too.
And then we had to start another stream.
Right.
So we stopped trying to be proper.
Bobby, really, you're the new me, so you should go ahead and say it right now. We're all just gonna be quiet
Okay.
and let you say it, okay?
I don't even have like a proper thing that I wanted to say because I couldn't. Okay.
Go for it.
Greetings from Storybrooke. This is Bobby Hawk, and in this realm, stories are written in blood and tears. Okay, see, I messed up.
Here, I'll show you how to do it. No, here we go.
Okay, no, I didn't write it like.
You didn't write it?
I started to. That's what I'm saying. Like okay.
Can anybody remember that line? Blood, sweat, and tears.
It was just blood and tears.
Okay. Greetings from Storybrooke. This is Bobby Hawk, and this is
That's Bobby talking into a microphone that's not currently active.
Well, okay, now you're just talking. And I did that for a month without knowing it too, because I was recording off my laptop and not into my mic.
Oh my god. Okay, so just project and look at the screen.
Greetings from Storybrooke. I'm Bobby Hawk, and this is the realm where stories are written in blood and tears. And we also talk about ABC's hit series Once Upon a Time.
Okay, Bobby, now I'm going to show you how it's done. Greetings from Storybrooke. You don't do it, or no, you don't do it right for...
And try
you don't do a right thing for a reward. You do it because it's right. Greetings from Storybrooke. I'm Bill Meeks.
And I'm Andrew DeSimone.
And that's it.
And that's all I know. I liked it because I always had this very simple part where I just didn't say who I was.
It would have been great if we all going to say who we were too at the same time.
You could have kept going?
Yeah, there's other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I paused.
So.
Oh, Hope has a question.
Oh, okay, yay.
Okay, did you guys see that Adam and Eddie said in an interview today that if they got season 8, they would have returned to Storybrooke? What do you think they would have covered if they had gotten a season 8? What would you want them to feature?
They would have covered whoever would have actually come back.
Yeah.
They would have had to see who would actually come back and for how many episodes, and then they'd go shake, 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 boom, and there it is.
Yeah.
That's about all the more they could do.
It's like they just threw dice and just said, "Come on, please come back, please come back."
Give me a B-lister. Give me a B-lister. Hurry up.
I feel like they probably would have ended the season almost in the same way.
Yeah.
And then just started it with all the realms now in Storybrooke.
At least it would have made sense though, instead of just saying, "And they lived happily ever after, all scrunched up like a map."
Well, it was weird because it seemed like they were setting up the Land of Untold Stories to do basically what the Wish Realm did this season.
Right.
And then at the end, all those realms from the Land of Untold Stories and everything just got folded back into Storybrooke.
Exactly. I mean,
it was
at
weird.
least
all roads lead to Storybrooke.
All roads lead to Storybrooke. Like, let's get a map and actually put Storybrooke in the heart of everything else.
And then there's so many still questions left unanswered. It's like,
how
so
in the world?
Okay, so I guess we in the past few episodes, this is now no longer the land without magic.
Mm-hmm.
So now
there hasn't been a land. I mean, there's always been a land of magic.
There's been a little magic.
Yeah.
There was a little magic, but then also it has always been said that there's magic. You just have to know how to use it.
But does the outside world know about this overdeveloped Storybrooke now?
They don't know about.
There's no way they know about Aaron's.
That's my dream season 8 because I've been asking for that since season 2. For there to be a wide reveal of the magical characters.
Do they just now have a visitor center and they just like have a booming economy because they screw Disneyland? We got real stuff here.
Right. We have the real Snow White. We have the real Prince Charming. We got
a couple of Cinderellas.
We got 3.
Yeah, you want hooks? We got 3 of them.
We got 3 of them.
We have babies with no names.
Right.
And then suddenly they're in like elementary school. What is that?
Visit Storybrooke. Shit is whack.
Yes. And where Zoro is the father of a dragon who we did not even know there was a dragon.
And timelines don't matter.
No.
Okay, Hope has some ideas on season 8 here. She says, I would be down for season 8 if it was an anthology set up where their minor characters each get an episode and wrapped up each of their stories. Example, Red and Dorothy episode, Victor finding Gerhardt, Archie episode, freaking wonderful episode answering where is Anastasia.
Wishes, dreams, and hopes that will never unfortunately happen.
Never.
Unless you write them and publish them.
Yeah.
I pass the baton.
Or give it 10 or 20 years, they'll reboot the show like they did other shows.
10 or 20 years, it's going to be like 3 years, max.
I really, you know what? If anything, if they were to do anything for season 8, let Wonderland be season 8, okay?
No, let's go back to Neverland.
Well,
Send me back to Neverland.
Honestly,
yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me if they brought back the show on the Disney streaming service in like 2 years.
In like 2 years,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, hey, you want live action? Oh, you got Descendants, but we got something better. Once upon a time.
Jenny Goodwin's star will fade. Josh Dallas's series will be canceled. They'll all be back.
They'll all be back.
Yeah, that looked like a really bad series.
Oh, really? I read the premise. I didn't. Josh Dallas.
Manifest.
Yeah, I didn't
I
watch.
think it looks interesting. I saw the promo.
It looks totally trope. I mean, you know, I mean, like a plane goes missing 5-10 years ago, and then all of a sudden just lands.
What is this, Lost?
Exactly. That's what
It sounded like an interesting premise, but I don't trust network TV to do it necessarily.
I don't know.
What station's it on?
You know what? Heaven forbid, and people just rummage my page. But I've never seen Lost, so I guess this would have been, you know.
Oh,
like
see, nobody's going to attack you. They bullied us until we did a series on it. Hey, they'll just bully you, and then suddenly you'll be doing a podcast about it. It's okay.
Hi, yes. Hi. Welcome to Tony's podcast about Lost, where I get unlost by watching Lost, you know.
Hope has some stuff here.
Tony's found, yes.
Hope says, I wish I could add a photo to this for you guys that I made years ago. Drew Carey from Whose Line Is It Anyway saying, welcome to Once Upon a Time, where everyone is related and the plot doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
And you know what? I loved it when they were actually, at first, when they were all coming together and say, wait, so you're my grandfather? Okay, wait, you're my grandmother and my other step-grandmother, great-grandmother is the queen of, okay, great, cool. But now it's like, come on, we don't need no more relations or any more people who are related to each other. And it was just crazy, like, annoying.
Okay, so people who still host Greetings from Storybrooke.
Yeah, you guys.
Oh my God.
What has been the biggest challenge to you over the past couple of years since you took over the show?
Biggest challenge.
Getting people to be in the chat room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
People involved.
What do you think? Love you.
There's a lot. It's definitely harder than it looks. I'll definitely I'll say that.
You're damn right.
Yeah, I mean, evidenced by tonight.
Yes.
But I still, regardless of the lack of involvement in the Facebook chat and everything, and there was still feedback here and there. John's theory was almost right. I mean, and that's what I wanted to ask that. It's like the John's theory from a few weeks ago. John, I don't remember where he was from, but he mentioned that like maybe Rumpel is the guardian, and Rumpel was his, Rumpel was the source of undoing, which
yeah,
makes sense.
So I was wondering if, when I asked earlier, do you think the prophecy came true? That's where I was leading. Is do you think that, he was this, he was the guardian,
and he was the undoing to himself.
Oh yeah.
Like.
Although I guess he wouldn't be the boy.
It would be the man of your own.
But I mean, he very literally did pull out his
own heart. Yeah. And I didn't see that coming, to be honest with you.
Me either, at all.
But yeah, I mean, as far as the hardest thing, I mean, being there, having to be there every week, and
scheduling.
Yeah, scheduling. Especially with four of us and 4 different times.
Yeah, it was always easy with me and Marie because we live in the same house. So
I think we're quite literally in. Well, no, you and I are in the same time zone, but then the other 2 are in different time zones.
Wow.
Central Standard Time. Liz,
so I think
time.
probably scheduling would probably be the biggest challenge we face.
Here, we have some stuff from Hope here. Okay, first off, she says, "Hey Liz, it's not my fault you guys moved to a day I work and I couldn't be in the chat." And then questions for all of us. Now that the show is finished, what's your favorite episodes overall? What is your least favorite arc episodes? And what made you guys almost rage quit the show? And what will you miss most about the show?
I did rage quit the show.
So I guess we'll take these one at a time. So favorite episodes overall. Who wants to go?
Let's go, Monica. You're being quiet, so when you're quiet, I call on you. It's like it's cool. I was that person.
Except that there's a reason I'm quiet. I'm plenty answer. What was that one that you and I did? Because Liz and Tony couldn't be there.
Oh God. Okay, so
I remember I really liked that episode. I just don't remember.
I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, you're talking about an episode from the season.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. I don't remember. My favorite episode, it would probably be Jefferson's hat.
You're playing to the audience.
Yeah. But I mean, just because of how much, and again, this is something that's been brought up on the show quite a few times, back even when I used to voicemail, that episode showed so much promise, that on one hand, it's my favorite episode, but then on the other hand, it's also like, because I mean, I won't say the episode itself is my least favorite, but like it's my source of like frustration of the show, because like it's like you went there and then didn't.
Yeah. All right, Anne-Marie, your favorite episode?
Something in Neverland.
Something in Neverland. Neverland was pretty.
We're gonna say Neverland. Neil episode.
You know what?
Happy.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to play to the audience once more again. I just realized that my favorite episode of Once Upon a Time was Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. Maybe the pilot episode of that, because like the scene where the knave breaks Alice out of prison. And I mean, even if you didn't like that show, you cannot not like that scene. That's a good show. I don't care what anyone says.
For me, I'd have to say probably the author origin episode.
Oh, see, that was good too.
The author arc, I think, maybe even more than Neverland, might be my favorite arc.
Well,
and that was just such a great episode, and how they kind of tied in. Oh, Disney was an author and all this stuff at the end. I thought that was
makes so much sense.
So much sense. Yes.
All right, and
Tony.
So I have like about a couple of episodes that I did like, and that were my favorites. Definitely the very first one that I was able to actually be on the show with you guys when you had actually did it, which to this day, like I say behind the scenes, I still have the script for. That is definitely Firebird. Mm-hmm. That is definitely the episode of the show at Firebird. That was my favorite episode, because it was first, that I was given experience, and then also able to come and talk to you guys. I was so nervous. I remember that day I was like very nervous and didn't even want to be there. But I guess the excitement was, the part of, to keep me from going, to going on and things like that. And my also another favorite was, like I said, also behind the scenes, was definitely when we got the Wicked Witch of the West. New York Serenade was definitely my utmost favorite, because I have this absolute fascination with the Wicked Witch of the West. My friend Ash, who's also in the chat. Hi, Ash. Hopefully you're still there. Hi, Ash. She knows me from the back of like the back of her hand, and she knows my love for the Wicked Witch of the West is like just huge. But definitely, and also 3B was my favorite arc. So.
Nice.
Yes.
All right. Hope has some stuff here. Let's see.
Right?
Were there other questions?
There were.
There are other questions, but Hope is saying.
I didn't get to answer the question.
Sorry, Liz.
We're all looking at you, but we. Sorry.
Well,
go.
I'm not there.
Go. The question. Answer.
Okay. My favorite episode was the musical episode for sure, and that and the pilot. And I think my favorite arc was learning about the origins of the Dark One.
Ooh,
very nice.
Give me away and whatnot.
Sending him away. And so Hope says, dirty little secrets where the Jabberwocky is interrogating Anastasia and Will was just brutal and amazing. Follow up Victor's backstory and hat trick, easily my top 3 favorites. I'm actually kind of surprised the Wonderland comes above the hat trick and all that.
She loved Once Upon a Time.
She loved Wonderland.
Yeah, that's why I said she
Play to the audience.
Yeah.
All right, so.
There other?
Oh, they went up.
Well, they do that.
Okay, actually, we're just going to skip to the last one, I think.
Okay.
What will you miss most about the show? Bobby.
Us.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And there it is.
Actually, I was going to say that's probably my answer too. Like I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed doing the podcast about the show.
Good point.
But I really enjoy the people. That it brought to my life.
Rebecca.
I really enjoyed the people who brought.
Rebecca Mader recently said in an interview that she was asked what she thought would be like the legacy of Once Upon a Time, and she said that it was with her going to cons and whatnot, that it was that she witnessed like how the show brought people together and whatnot, and I wouldn't know you unless I had started calling in voicemails, and now I mean, obviously we're friends.
I hate you, Bobby.
Definitely. Finally, Tony and Monica. I mean, none this wouldn't have happened without Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, and she too. Rebecca Mader.
Thank you.
She is very into the fandom and like being friendly with the fans. When I went to RegalCon, like she was out there dancing the entire night with the entire assembled group of people and everything. She was just all about it. So.
And then there was you and Sean McGuire sneaking off, and David Anders.
Yeah.
Being ornery.
Just a little ornery.
Should be. By that point, wasn't he eating brains?
Yeah, I think so. He was on the zombie by then. All right, so there's some Ash Waves, by the way.
Yes.
And says, love you, Tony. Oh, and Josh Aronoff's in the chat room.
Aronoff!
Hi, Aronoff. How's it going? Weird that you're here. Everyone stop talking about Aronoff. He's in the chat room.
They're all like, who?
He's a friend of mine from college. He's just this guy,
This guy we know.
He has a beard.
He's some kids. There we go.
Beards are awesome.
They are.
Yeah.
He also goes to Leprechaun Comic-Cons a lot.
Leprechaun Comic-Con?
Leprechaun Comic-Cons. You had to be there. It's a long story.
Yeah, it is. It's always a long story. So.
All right, so let's see. What else do we have?
Huh?
I don't know that there's. I mean, I kind of feel like
we don't have questions.
On a lot of.
We have touched on a lot of stuff. We should do we're going to do a formal episode to wrap it all up, and this will be part of it probably. Past that, just anyone who happens to catch this on the Facebook page, we do have a new project coming out. It's kind of on the DL right now. It's a secret. But if you follow.
The specifics.
Yeah, if you follow any of our social accounts on Twitter, or if you follow Anne Marie, you will be aware of our new project. I'll just say it rhymes with Fakist, and leave it at that. So you'll know it when you see it.
Fakist. It's like it's about me, and I like to bake things. I am Fakist.
She is Fakist. Hope says, LOL, Bill. What else do we have? Everyone. Nice. So no, I think
we're all together on that. We're like,
I feel like we had a pretty good, especially especially for this just being a one, initial reaction, first watch reaction.
Definitely.
I mean, I feel like we've touched on quite a bit, it sucks that we couldn't get the technical issues ironed out, but
it happens. That's what happens when you go live, which is why the new project is not going to be live. By the way, Hope mentions she's very excited about the new project. She knows about it because she's in it, and so is this guy, so is this girl, so is this guy, so is this girl,
and so is that girl.
And Liz is in it, and
I am?
Yeah. Remember you recorded those lines for me for that thing?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know you remember.
Yeah. And who else is in it that you guys would know? Rebecca Johnson, who used to host Supergirl Radio Operation Cobra podcast. She's actually next to my part. She's probably the biggest part in the whole thing.
And she's amazing.
She is.
I've been in it a few times.
Mm-hmm.
You are. You have multiple characters. I have a new one for you too. It's very important. It's since I killed your other one off.
Spoiler.
Oh yeah, Win
is in it.
Our constant.
Oh yeah.
Is she in here?
She is not in there.
Oh okay. I thought you were saying that like.
No. Lucero.
Yeah, Michael Lucero's in it.
So basically, if you've anything Universe Box.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's even a little like Universe Box in that every episode is based around a theme. So
look at them, not us. Look at them, not us.
Speaking of,
it's like he's never done video before.
Speaking of, we wanted to do something for you guys before we ended this stream tonight.
Oh yes.
We appreciate so much you guys doing Greetings from Storybrooke for us for so many years that we have the Universe box here, and we're going to give a Universe box to each one of you. So
I don't know if there's anything in. I never went through these.
So let's see.
So the little box might still. Oh, the tool.
Okay, we're gonna send one to you too, Liz. Okay.
Yes, I need your address.
Okay.
Email me.
So we'll give the toolbox to Tony because he's a total tool.
You are such a jerk.
You are such a. Oh my God.
All right.
With the box.
With the box. Man,
What's in the
so
box?
much time reading those boxes.
All I heard was Anne-Marie saying, "You're such a jerk." I'm like, who is that directed toward?
That was
All right.
directed towards my husband.
Then we're gonna give
Okay.
That was the TV box.
the TV box or the notes box. We're gonna give
Memory
this
box. Memory box.
Memory box.
Oh no, we got to the point where I started having multiple boxes on each box
Yeah.
because I am a
So
bad
give this to
drawer.
Monica.
So I got a good one. I kept it.
And because he
Well, which one are you giving
perseveres.
Liz? Well, you can show Liz hers.
Oh yeah, sorry. You were gonna get the game box.
Oh
We're gonna send this
She
to
did
you.
not see that at all.
Oh,
Wrong
sorry.
camera. Wrong camera.
Wrong camera.
I need your address. I'm gonna send you the game box.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And last but not least, because Bobby is so awesome and he carried forward our oldest project well past its death day, we're gonna give him
The Universe box.
So there you go, Bob.
I will treasure it always.
And you will fill it with universes.
And universes and universes.
I'm on my phone because I'm trying to remember Anne-Marie's email.
It's my name.
Yeah.
I'll fill this up with tools. Thank you, Bill.
No problem. You
Tools
tool.
of all sorts.
Tool. I'll fill it with my first one. Get in there.
I just played myself. Damn it. Okay, excellent. Well, I think we're going to end the live stream and we're going to party. Liz, you stay there. We're going to party with you too.
Oh, there were a couple questions in there. It looks like.
Oh, do we? Have you got any of you guys had the opportunity to meet the cast? Yeah, I met a bunch of them at RegoCon. We met Blue and
I did meet
Archie
Blue.
at Dragon Con.
You met Archie. I did
Host
not.
met a bunch of people.
Okay.
Not me.
Not me. Not me. Not me. No,
I
sir.
was in the audience and he was really hot.
You mean nice? He was really nice. Don't objectify August. He was really nice.
I want to justify him all I want.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And Hope says David Anderson's nice too. He was very nice. I talked to him about Hope actually.
Yes, you did.
I did. But okay, I think that's going to do it, guys. Again, I guess we're going to be back in a few days' time next week with a proper episode dissecting the finale of Once Upon a Time. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
We did. Is it?